If you're ready to level up your fitness, make sure you are subscribed to the channel as we help individuals of all abilities do exactly that. This is the Become All Strong podcast. We are going to answer a bunch of fitness Q&A questions today to level up your fitness and get you fitter, healthier, and just more active in your daily life. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first question and topic we're going to look at is this individual changed the weights on their scales, or they changed scales. And they had a rude awakening. Interesting. So using a new scale, use one forever. The new scale that this individual is using for their weight loss is reading 11 pounds heavier than what the old one was reading, okay? So this individual is frustrated. They're unsure what to do about it. So here's the deal. And whenever you are weighing yourself, you got to keep in mind one big thing. It's mainly the consistency of weighing yourself is where you are going to get the benefit. So, for example, if you're weighing yourself every single day on the same scale and your weight is either trajecting up or down, that's what matters at the end of the day. Most scales are not very accurate, as in they will not tell you the exact amount of weight that is on your actual body. There's usually a plus or minus of, probably roughly 3, sometimes even 5 pounds. But what these are good for is they are very reliable. They will tell you a repeated number. So instead of looking at it as in you're 11 pounds heavier, you're 11 pounds heavier on this new scale, which doesn't necessarily and likely doesn't mean at all that you're 11 pounds heavier in general. Okay, so I would completely scrap the old numbers and just start out with the new numbers on this new scale and literally just ride that and still track that consistency. So if on this new scale you start out 11 pounds heavier and are then leading lower and lower and lower down to maybe your old weight, guess what? You're going to be less than your old weight because on your old scale, you were at that weight. That makes sense. So that's what I would do in that circumstance. This next individual is starting out running. They're not sure what to do. So you can read some of the beginning, but basically they're starting the process. They can't turn around and walk back waiting for a future. So they're ready. They want to make a change. And here's the thing. Running could be a way to make a change, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the way to make a change. And a lot of times people will think that they need to do specific types of exercise when they are starting out to get a certain result. A lot of people see really fit people and really skinny people going out for runs, so they think that I need to run to look that way. When in fact, there are so many different forms of physical activity that you can be doing every single day that have absolutely nothing to do with running. I do so many different forms of physical activity. I do yoga, I do basketball, I play hockey, I lift weights, I lift heavy weights, I lift light weights, I stretch, I do ice skating, I rollerblade. I do so many different things, and I couldn't imagine holding myself to one form of physical activity to get results, because at the end of the day, that's going to make you hate physical activity unless you really like that form of physical activity. And if you do like just running and that's all you want to do, go for it. But for most people, they don't. So try out a bunch of different ones. It doesn't have to be running. And especially if you don't like running, please don't do it. You are not going to stick to your exercise routine long term. And if you don't do that, you're not going to get long-term results, which is of course what most people want. So if you're getting some good value from this so far, please drop a like and comment down below what your favorite form of physical activity is. I'd love to know. In addition to that, this individual is wondering if protein can turn into fat. So this is a question that I get asked a lot, where people are like, hey, I'm trying to lose some weight and I'm wondering if my muscle is going to turn to fat if I start eating too many calories again. Well, here's the deal. Does protein turn into fat? Absolutely not. Protein is literally a different compound or different molecular structure than fat. It's completely different. It's like saying, can an apple turn into an orange? Well, I'm sure with the way Elon Musk is creating insane things in the universe, yeah, maybe someday. But as it sits right now, no, those two things do not compute, just like protein cannot turn into fat. What does happen though sometimes is that if you are not eating enough protein, as well as resistance training when you are trying to lose weight, you might be losing more muscle than fat. So when you are trying to lose weight, if you are eating enough protein and eating in a slow calorie deficit, so a calorie deficit that's not too big, you will largely lose mostly fat from your body. But if you don't, and you're not resistance training and you're lacking on protein, your body's like, okay, that protein or your muscle is very metabolically active. So it breaks down that because it knows that to survive in this cut, in this quote unquote surplus, which is kind of mimicking starvation on a very small scale, that muscle is very costly, and we don't want things that are costly for our metabolic rate. And if you take that away, and then of course, if you're taking away muscle and you're not losing the fat instead of the muscle, you will likely look like you've turned protein into fat, but in all reality, you just lost muscle and kept the fat you have, okay? In addition to that, this individual is struggling with knowing what a healthy diet looks like. So I read this one earlier. This individual is with a family who isn't very, I should say, inclusive or accepting of the fact that they are trying to diet and lose weight for themselves. And this is a huge problem because a lot of people go through this where they're trying to make a change and then their family's not comfortable with the fact that they're trying to make a change. So they'll actually project this insecurity that this person's trying to make a change onto them, make them feel bad, ultimately to the point where that person who's trying to make a change won't make a change anymore. I've been thankful that the family I was raised into, we've all pretty much embraced a healthy lifestyle, so I really haven't had to worry about this. But I have heard of a lot of people who do have to go through this, okay? So the family, they're complaining. This person's just unsure where to go. So if you're in an environment like this where you are struggling, you have no idea at all what a healthy diet looks like, I think it all starts with just doing some research online. There's so much great information on my channel, of course, but all online as well. YouTube, Google, literally if you just type in healthy meal ideas or healthy snack ideas, these are a few simple things that you can do to find out what healthy looks like. What are some healthy options out there for you? There are literally so many different things out there. What's going to be really hard though is you can know what healthy options are, but if you're not in an environment that helps you to live a healthful diet, you're going to have to be extra conscious and extra weary of the fact that the people you're living with aren't thinking this same way. Okay, so for example, if you know that chicken breast and some broccoli is a pretty healthy meal, you know, you won't need just that, but maybe a little bit extra stuff, and your family's eating pizza and pop for dinner, and you're sitting here with your chicken breast and broccoli, you got to realize you're going to have a little bit of willpower to not eat that. What a better idea is though is to change up your environment. So if normally you guys eat dinner together, I would maybe consider eating in a separate room, or if you have friends that are really healthy and health promoting, go eat dinners with them. Maybe just eat outside the night, or if you're in a situation where you're not really feeling like eating that unhealthy food, that's definitely what I would do. It's a tough situation, but you really got to just switch your environment as much as you can in a way that's right for you. On top of that, this individual is going into a little bit of motivational talk, which I think is very important for all of us. So doing it for yourself. This individual started doing it and looking at weight loss as a way to actually work on her body, and looking at it as a way to basically improve her confidence. And what this individual is saying, that when they started working out for their body and looking better and being more confident, they felt less stressed through their lives. They were able to wear better clothing. They just looked at themselves in a different light. And I think this is one of the really powerful things that exercise can actually do for people, is building their self-confidence to do things outside of the gym. And it's not often talked about. I used to work with this lady who was very, very timid, and she was a senior. She was like 80 years old, and we just tried to practice walking across a room without her walker. And she told me she got enough confidence one day to actually go and do a walker, or I should say a walk without her walker all the way across the room. So that little bit of work we did in the gym, in our personal training session, actually translated to her to having more confidence outside the gym. This is one of many examples adding to that reaffirming of this idea that the gym is a place to build confidence as well as building muscle. It's not just all about getting in, getting a good sweat. That's a huge part of it, but you're trying to build emotional health. You're trying to build some mental health as well, and take back your sense of power and realizing like, you've got this. You've got this. So drop a like if you've got this, because I know you do. On top of that, this individual is really struggling with hating their figure. Will continued fat loss help me get more proportional? So when they're trying to wear pants, struggle a lot to get them up over my hips, and they end up loose in my waist. I'm scheduled for a tummy tuck and breast lift. Okay, so this is a good point to talk about where we lose fat. So will continued fat loss help me get proportional? First things first, absolutely. And this is actually the only way to get proportional unless you get a tummy tuck or a breast lift, or maybe, bariatric surgery. No, that's when they do the stomach. Just liposuction, that's the word. Unless you get liposuction, there is no actual way to spot reduce your fat if you're doing this naturally, just with diet and exercise and lifestyle, okay? So that's the name of the game. You gotta find a diet and a workout routine that allows you to be consistent, because at the end of the day, consistency leads to continued weight loss over a long period of time. And if you think about it, you will have to be doing some type of restriction to some degree if you want something like this for a long period of time. And for most people, they don't want to just lose 50 pounds to gain it all back. So you really need to start switching your mindset to this idea of wanting long-term progress and picking a diet that, at least for right now, you can imagine doing for the rest of your life. It's not to say that this won't change and become easier, so you won't have to do exactly the same diet for the rest of your life, but as a starting point, that's usually what I recommend for most individuals, especially when they are first starting out in their weight loss journey and they're just trying to get more and more out of their overall weight loss journey. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and I'm not sure exactly when I will post this, so this could be after Thanksgiving, but regardless, if you are about to have the holidays and you are wondering, how should I navigate eating around the holidays, this will definitely help you. So this individual is worried about Thanksgiving. They don't want to track their calories, and they don't want to feel guilty about things when they're eating around their family, and no one should feel this way. So the way I always navigate one-off holidays, especially one-off holidays. If you're gone for a vacation for a long week or even a couple weeks or even a month, kind of a different story. But if we're talking one day, maybe once a month, where you're just like, screw it, YOLO, you are gonna be completely fine. Even if this person ate literally everything under the sun until their stomach exploded, they would likely not gain any noticeable fat at all. And this is because your body can only process a certain amount of calories every single day. So normally when people gain a lot of fat, it's because they're eating a very small surplus over a lot of years. Very small surplus over a lot of years. If you're eating a very large surplus over one day, your body can't even process all that stuff. And it's basically gonna burn up a large portion of it just digesting the food, and a good portion of it might not even get digested, at least very well, right, optimally. So another way to look at this is the fact that one good day of eating healthy will not make you healthy, just like one bad day, or in this example, Thanksgiving, of eating bad, quote unquote, will not make you unhealthy, okay? Consistency is the key with all of this, and anytime you have a birthday party or things like that, don't stress out about it. Eat until you're satisfied. Don't eat until you're sick, because that wouldn't make you feel good. Eat foods that make you feel good on these events. Enjoy the time with your family, and know that if you are really serious about this, that the next day you're just going to get back to your normal routine anyway. If that's not the case for you and you feel like doing all out cheat days, kind of like this or whatever, is going to set you off on a complete tangent, that might be a different story where you might want to actually bring your own food. Most people are perfectly okay with just eating a little bit in moderation and picking it up on the next day as well. In addition to that, this individual is curious if they are going to have to eat a calorie deficit forever. Oof. Yeah, I've been down there before. Losing weight, you think you literally have to stick with it forever, or you're literally just going to gain all that weight back. So I know any food is good in moderation and it's okay to indulge sometimes, but I'm going to have to eat like this forever. Good point there. So we'll start with that. Any food is good in moderation. That's absolutely true. And this is what I recommend to all my clients and the people I work with, is that just eating, one piece of pizza, or even like 1.5 pieces of pizza and a small 8-ounce serving of cola with your dinner, assuming maybe you got some veggies or something too, that's perfectly okay. That's pretty calorie controlled, and that's not really that bad at the end of the day, especially if you're getting enough protein. The way I look at my diet is if I get enough protein, which it changes for everyone, but usually 0.82 grams per pound of body weight is a good general recommendation, or 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, 0.82 grams per regular pound. That's what I would just use. Calculate that for yourself. Get that much protein in, and then literally whatever fits in the rest of the calories, do it. I would obviously recommend getting some fruits and vegetables too. That's going to make you feel better, but at the end of the day, we're trying to make this sustainable for you. So if that means maybe you have to cut back a little bit on your fruits and veggies just so you can enjoy some of your fun foods like a piece of pizza at dinner, and you're still able to be adherent to your weight loss diet, you are going to get much more physical, mental, and emotional health benefits from that little bit of junk food than if you completely cut it out, completely neglected it, and got to the point where you feel like you need to binge on your diet, because that's the worst thing. Nobody wants to do that, because then you feel guilty, and then you say, oh, I'm a lost cause, and then it just is this downward spiral again. So when you are losing weight, you do not have to eat a calorie deficit forever. You will get to a point, and I'm kind of at this point right now, where I feel really comfortable with my body weight, and I'm basically just eating a flatline level of maintenance calories. So I'm not really tracking that religiously. I just eat until I'm satisfied. I eat until I feel a little bit full. Sometimes I go a little bit over, sometimes I go a little bit under, but at the end of the day, I feel good throughout the day. I feel like I have energy, and that's kind of what it's going to be for you. So once you get to a point where you feel lean enough, just start to taper back, maybe experiment with not counting calories as much and just kind of going by your overall bodily feel. That's going to get you the most long-term benefits, because nobody wants to be in a calorie deficit forever. Nobody wants to count calories forever. I used to be there and feel like I needed to, and it's very freeing to not think about that. So if you like the idea of not counting calories for the rest of your life, or also not having to be in a calorie deficit for the rest of your life, please like the video and comment down below. I'm curious, are you in a calorie deficit? Are you at calorie maintenance? Or are you trying to bulk up and are in a calorie surplus? Let me know down below. On top of that, this individual is ashamed of their weight gain and feel like they're going backwards. This is tough. So it's so hard to get past my normal weight, which is always around 160. Still pretty chubby. Last year I lost about 50 pounds after reaching my heaviest weight. This year I lost another 15 but gained it back. I'm back to where I was this last time. Okay, so I kind of get where this is going. We'll see at the bottom too. It's bothering me that I'm not hearing those "you look so skinny" comments these past months. I feel paranoid that everyone can tell I gained weight. So in all reality, there is absolutely nothing, I shouldn't say nothing, but this is mainly a fear-based thinking, and it's a fear that other people are judging me. This isn't really anything to do about the overall weight gain. That's kind of a byproduct, but if this individual can get to a point where they are comfortable in their own body, they're comfortable with the weight they are, and they are grateful and in anticipation of knowing that someday they are going to be even skinnier, they are going to lose more weight, regardless of what people think around them, regardless of how people look at them, they will lose weight, okay? When people are feeling this way, it's kind of an interesting thing. So losing weight for a lot of people is a good thing. It's putting a little bit of a stress on your body because your body doesn't like to lose weight, but it's a good stress because if you get down to that healthier weight, your hormones will be regulated better, you'll feel better, your joints will feel better, etc. But that good stressor of the weight loss can sometimes get negated if you feel guilty when you eat certain things. If you feel like people are always looking at you and telling you, oh my gosh, I bet she's gained weight. Here's the deal. Nobody thinks like that. And the people who do think like that are very insecure with their own body weight. And in fact, if you have friends and people that talk like that around you, it's probably a good time to cut them out of your life completely, because when you do get to your skinny body weight where you feel good, do you really want that person in your life anyway? No. You're going to want the people in your life that rooted you on from day one all the way until you got your goal body weight. So kind of tying a lot of things together, but just don't be so hard on yourself. That's really the biggest thing with all this. Don't be so hard on yourself. So another individual is talking about their diet on Thanksgiving. So been eating at 500 calorie deficit for a few months now, so we'll say 2 months. Been doing really well, and honestly, it's made me realize how ridiculous the amount of food I ate before was. This is a huge thing. When people start tracking their calories, they have no idea how many overall calories are in food. So the second they start tracking, the second they start looking at this thing, it is absolutely insane, the overall amount of calories that are in foods. One of the examples I always give is of Pop-Tarts. One Pop-Tart, one sleeve of Pop-Tarts has 2 Pop-Tarts. So one Pop-Tart has 200 calories in it. So 2 Pop-Tarts, a sleeve of Pop-Tarts has 400 calories in it. Let's see here, I think it's 12 cups of broccoli has 400 calories as well. So if you think about eating 2 Pop-Tarts, I literally feel like I've eaten nothing after that. 12 cups of broccoli, I feel like I could throw up. And then after throwing up, I could still feel like I need to throw up more. That's an insane thing about it. So that's a first side note. This person's kind of talking about counting calories on Thanksgiving and how they should go about it. So, the thing about this is I would not do anything different on Thanksgiving. And in fact, I would allow yourself, especially if you've been consistently dieting 500 calorie deficit for 2 months, that means you have been eating in a 500 calorie deficit for 60 days. Now, I don't know the math on the top of my head. Well, let's think here. 500 times 6, 30, is that 30,000? 30,000 calorie deficit? Okay, so let's think about this. You would need to eat 30,000 calories over what you've been eating on Thanksgiving to negate all that. Do you think you're even going to be able to eat 500 more calories than you've been eating every single day? No, not at all. Not at all. And hypothetically, even if you were able to eat 30,000 calories extra on Thanksgiving, your body is not going to process basically any of that. Most of it's going to get pooped out of your body. It's not even going to get stored as fat. It's not going to get stored as anything. It's literally going to pass straight through. Your digestive system literally doesn't know what to do with it. So there's a good chance you might even have diarrhea or just throw up. So of course your food's not getting digested and processed in your body through that. So don't stress about it. Enjoy the time with your family. So on top of that, this person is curious about which different things that you should bring in your gym bag. So 2 of everything. Let's go through this. So this person is talking about if you should bring maybe 1 deodorant in your gym bag to have 1 at home, 1 shampoo in your gym bag, 1 at home, 1 soap in your gym bag, 1 at home. Just curious about what the best practices are if you are trying to shower at the gym, what you should bring. So I really don't overthink this. I actually, when I do this, I literally just bring whatever I have in my shower at the time in like a little baggie, like a plastic bag or like a grocery bag. And then from there, I just bring a towel that I've used or a fresh towel, put that in my bag, put all the stuff I need, my shampoo, etc., put it in a bag, go to the gym and shower, and then at the end of the day, I have that dirty bag of clothes that I just dump into my normal laundry hamper, okay? So it's really that simple. But if you are somebody who maybe just has a gym bag at work, it would probably, of course, be a good idea to have 1 or maybe even 2 of whatever toiletries you're gonna be using. at the gym bag at home. So then once you start to get low on that one and say you forget to bring another one, you have that backup one, and then you can put a mental reminder in your head to restock on your stuff. So if you are getting some good value from that, and if that just gave you a little bit of insight, please drop a like. Greatly appreciate it. This individual is talking about upper body workouts. They're curious about what are some of the best gym exercises to build your upper body, chest, arms, shoulders, back. Wondering which workouts will help me out. They're also an ectomorph. So an ectomorph is somebody who's stereotypically skinnier. Ectomorphs, mesomorphs, none of these really exist. It's just the fact that basically he's naturally skinny and he has a hard time putting on weight and muscle in general. So that's the first thing I would address, is that this person likely just needs to eat more. They just need to eat more, and they need to eat more in a sense of anything, literally anything. More protein is great, but at some point, protein is so satiating that when you eat too much protein, what will actually happen is you will feel very, very full. You'll feel so full to the point where basically you won't even be able to eat more carbs and fats. And those are going to be where you're getting your extra calories in to gain weight. So when it comes to diet, you just got to find stuff you like. You got to find stuff you like and will eat a lot of, and you got to keep eating it for a long period of time. Now, when it comes to the upper body workouts, this is where people get so crazy on follow this bench press workout, I follow this arm workout, and in all reality, all of them are completely the same. The fact of the matter is, if you go in and you do a little bit of bench one day, do a little bit of back, some rows and pull-ups, do some arms, do anything on a balanced program where you are doing pushing movements and pulling movements, you will gain muscle. You just have to be consistent. There's no special workout routine. There's no special exercises. There's some that will target a lot of muscles, like bench press and push-ups and rows and pull-ups, those types of things, pull-downs. But any of them will work. Any of them will work. You just need to eat enough and make sure you are working out enough, okay? On top of that, this person is vegetarian and they are looking for some high protein foods, okay? So they need some high protein foods. They eat eggs, just not vegetarian because my mom doesn't let me. I'm thinking of buying some whey protein for my B-day, but okay, yeah, so for starters, whey protein is an excellent one. Whey protein is actually a byproduct of dairy. So basically dairy, they extract the whey, the protein from it, and they put it into powder form, make it taste really good, and it's really convenient. So that's a great one. Eggs, as I said, are a good one. You can get egg whites or egg beaters. That's a really good one. Cottage cheese is one of my favorite high protein vegetarian options. Milk products of any sorts, cheese is decent. Tofu's good. There's soybeans, soy protein, that's another decent one. There's so many vegan and vegetarian protein powders and protein bars nowadays. I'm trying to think. Nuts are okay. The thing about nuts though is that they're very, very high in calories. So for example, like a handful of nuts is maybe 200 to 300 calories, and there's maybe only like 15 grams of protein and all that. So not a lot of calories, or excuse me, not a lot of protein for the overall amount of calories in that. Actually, another example, a serving of peanut butter is 2 tablespoons. There's 200 calories in 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, but only 7 grams of protein. So when people are talking about, peanut butter as being a high protein food, here's the deal. It is not. It's got protein in it, but that doesn't mean it's high protein at all. So those are a few ideas for vegetarian protein options. Hopefully you appreciate and get those. So this individual is curious, what happens if I eat at my basal metabolic rate but eat enough protein? For context, my basal metabolic rate is a little more than 1300. I've been trying to lose fat. For the past few days, I've been eating around that amount. But around 100 to 120 grams of protein, would this plan be effective? So the overall amount of protein they're eating, I think, is actually pretty spot on. I would, for a 120-pound individual, 100 to 120 grams, that's fair. The thing about this, though, they said that their basal metabolic rate is a little more than 1,300. If that is actually true, they are eating around 1,300 to 1,400 calories every day, they would basically be skin and bones, because your basal metabolic rate is the amount of calories your body needs to maintain all the functions such as cellular repair, thinking and cognitive tasks, rebuilding all the structures in your body, basically all the things that you need to have happen in your body every single day and every single second for you to stay alive. That's how many calories it takes for your body to consume and do that. That's your basal metabolic rate. That takes about 50 to 60% of your overall calories of what you're consuming. 20 to 30% is your physical activity. So 20 to 30% of your calories burned every day is from physical activity. Roughly 10% burned is from the thermic effect of food, or the amount of calories and energy it takes to actually digest and burn the food that you're eating. So if this person is eating 1,300 to 1,400 calories and they're eating at their basal metabolic rate, they're eating probably 50% less calories that they would need. It just kind of boggles my mind to even say this, but they're eating a very, very low calorie diet, and I doubt that this is actually their basal metabolic rate. It's probably their total daily energy expenditure, which is your basal metabolic rate plus your physical activity plus the thermic effect of food altogether. That's probably what they're referring to. And if that's the case and they're starting here, I would definitely just start 1,300 to 1,400 calories, eat it for a few weeks, keep the protein, and see what happens. If you lose weight, that's great. Keep on it until you stop losing weight, and then do a little more. Simple as that. Long story short. In addition to this, this individual is wondering if you do not have to barbell squat. So is it really necessary? Beginner, posted many forms, blah, blah, blah. Current routine, bench squats, pull-ups, deadlift, overhead press, chin-ups. Rest between A and B. Don't know how viable this routine is. Might start doing bodyweight squats instead. So bodyweight squats would actually be a great idea. And here's the thing. You do not need to do any specific exercise if you don't want to. You don't, okay? But what I would do is make sure you have basic movement patterns. And the basic movement patterns is like a horizontal push, like a bench press, horizontal pull, like a row, vertical pull, like a pull-up or a lat pull-down, a vertical push, like an overhead press or a dumbbell press, and then usually some hinging pattern, like a deadlift, and some type of squatting pattern. How this looks doesn't matter. You might do dumbbell deadlifts, you might do barbell deadlifts, you might do Romanian deadlifts, you might do goblet squats, holding it on to a dumbbell at your chest, you might do bodyweight squats. It doesn't matter, but I would highly recommend to do all these basic movement patterns because they are things that we do every single second, not every single second, but most of the time throughout the day. If we're moving at all, we need to be able to stand up out of a chair. That's a squat. Sit down. That's a squat. Just bend down to get anything. That's a deadlift. Reach up overhead. That's an overhead press, right? Pull up anything off the ground. That's a row. That's a pull up. All these things are foundational movements and part of how we need to move. So you don't need to do barbell squats, but if you don't do barbell squats, you need to find some other form of squatting that's loadable. The thing that's great about barbell squats is that you are able to load the weight very, very heavy. And if you're able to load the weight heavy, you're able to progress over time. And that's going to be where you get a lot of your results, is if you consistently progress and overload the exercises and the weight. So you don't need to do barbell squats, but I would never shy anyone away from trying to hopefully do more barbell squats at some point in their workout routine. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day though. This individual needs some advice. So they're a little embarrassed, but they're so weak they can't do a single toe push-up. And they're wondering how to get in shape. They eat pretty healthy, they just never work out. And when people come to me like this, where they're just feeling very weak, they can't do anything, they just don't even know where to start, I try to get them some confidence boosting and just show them that there is some type of exercise that they are strong at. So this person can't do a single toe push-up, but I guarantee you they can probably do some knee push-ups. And if they can't do knee push-ups, they can probably do some knee push-ups off of an elevated bench. That's an exercise that they're strong at. So you show them that, you build some confidence in the fact that you can do exercises, and clearly you are strong. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do that specific exercise in that specific instance, okay? So building some confidence there. They eat pretty healthy, so they don't really need to worry about that. That's a facet of fitness and health that they're good on. So keep doing you for that. But when it comes to getting in shape, you just need to find forms of exercise you enjoy and forms of exercise that you can just imagine sticking with. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it and you're not going to get long-term results. Build up all the good long-term benefits of exercise to the point where you actually start noticing some results. So you just need to go into the gym and play around. Try some machines, try some classes, go out and play a sport, do anything that sounds fun. Google different types of physical activity. Look on my channel. There's so many forms of physical activity that I show you guys and talk about the clients that I work with and show them as well. So many different forms out there. Start something, start anywhere, it doesn't matter, and go from there. In addition to that, this guy is talking about bulking and he's curious how long he should bulk. So they've been bulking for 1.5 months and they're doing great, about 7 pounds so far of a weight gain. So that's pretty fair. That's a little over a pound a week. So that's pretty solid. 6 weeks of bulking, 7 pounds. That's a really good weight. Question is how long to bulk / when to cut. Should I cut this coming May, 3 years from now? So this is really good because this person's at a very steady rate of bulking. And that's going to be the big thing. If you are at a steady rate of bulking to the fact where you're noticing very minimal fat on your body, that's going to be the biggest thing. Because if you can keep bulking like this, maybe 3 years from now, you're going to gain so much muscle and in the grand scheme of things, so minimal fat, it might look like you have actually gained muscle and lost fat because your body composition, as in your body fat percentage, might have gotten lower because body fat percentage is literally a ratio of how much body fat you have to how much lean mass you have on your body. So you could end up having more lean mass and have the same amount of body fat or just a little bit more and you actually look better. So this is why doing clean bulks, slow bulks over a long period of time are usually what I recommend to people. And if you do feel like you're ever going to go to a point where you're getting too fluffy, feel like you might need to cut and do something like that along those lines, then of course, 100%, I would cut. And this doesn't mean a full-blown cut. If you feel a little fluffy, take 2 to 3 weeks and just cut back a little bit, see how that looks on your body. If you get to a point you're like, oh, I'm good, yeah, let's go back into this cut, or let's go back into this bulk, then go for it. Absolutely go for it. When I used to do Olympic weightlifting, I was pretty into bulking. I was eating almost 4,000 calories a day, which was a lot for me. And I started to get kind of chunky at one point and I didn't like how my body looked. So I literally took 2 to 3 weeks. I think it was roughly there, 2 to 3 weeks. I cut back a little bit and I lost a little bit of body fat, looked decent enough for me at least. And then I went back into bulking for another 2 months before I did a full, I'd say 3-month cut. Okay. So those mini cuts when you are bulking are going to be very, very beneficial for you.